All right, welcome back to Rapid Fire Manufacturing. Today we have Anthony Butchbaker. He's the founder and president of Spartan Scanning Solutions. He is an expert in reality capture and digital twin technology, and he uses these tools to solve big challenges in the industrial industry. Anthony, thank you so much for joining today.
Yeah, thanks, David. Thanks a lot for having me on.
Yeah, and I wanted to first kind of get what's your definition of digital twin technology? Because I see there's kind of variances on that term. So
Yeah,
what is your interpretation of it?
that's a great question. So we follow the digital twin consortium's definition. So a digital twin is a digital replica of a physical, it could be process, a system, a product, or some equipment or an asset. And the key component here is that it has to have a two-way data exchange. So having a digital copy it doesn't necessarily qualify as a digital twin until you have that data connectivity. So we connect IoT sensors, any kind of real-time data to the digital, and any changes that are made to that digital representation are seen in the physical as well, and vice versa. So any changes that are made in the physical are reflected in the digital. And that's the primary concept around digital twin technology, is that two-way data exchange.
Okay, so say you have a machine on the floor, you're just tapping into the data that exists there and then you're replicating it. So now you have live understanding of what's going on with that particular machine. Say it's the electric motor in it, the interface, all that stuff.
Yep. Yep. So we can connect to PLCs, SCADA systems, anything like that, and pull out all that data that's already being collected. Actually, part of our process is we do a gap analysis to see what these machines are already pulling, what data they already can collect. And then we'll establish our own network of devices as well for any additional data points that we need, whether it be temperature, pressure, really anything you can imagine, we can measure it.
Okay, so you could implement some of these different sensors into these machines to get a little bit more information that would be beneficial for the manufacturer or the facility.
Yeah, and that's really actually critical when you're talking about brownfield assets. So any kind of legacy systems, any of that we can connect to, and we do advise that we want to see what you got. So let's start pulling data.
That's cool. Now, how do you see reality capture and digital twin technology changing the game for manufacturing companies that are looking to improve safety and reduce downtime?
Well, the way reality capture fits into it is you really need to start with, a really good foundation. And in my opinion, the best way to do that is to have an accurate representation of existing conditions. That could be interpreted in many ways as far as the physical condition of the site, how these systems and processes are working together within that ecosystem. And we can really dive deep into seeing the inner workings of these plants.
Is there a particular industry, or is this going to be across the board at pretty much any manufacturing facility?
I think I'm far from the smartest guy in the world, but with a little bit of creativity, if you look at the framework of digital twin technology itself, it's pretty malleable. So with a little bit of creativity, this technology can be manipulated and applied to what I believe pretty much any industry that exists today.
Oh, that's very cool. And now, what's one piece of advice that you'd give to companies who are just starting to explore some of the digital twin technology, and how can they use that to optimize their operations?
My biggest piece of advice would have to be, don't get sucked in by all the marketing fluff. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there. I think the most notorious ones might be the tier 1, tier 2 providers who make everything seem effortless and that it can happen at the snap of a finger. So the best place to start is understanding what you have now. So getting a very well documented current state analysis done, understanding what technologies you already have in place and how far those can be stretched. That would be the low hanging fruit. And then really defining the overall mission of the organization. So you really need to have a very good idea of where you're going. or where you want to go, what you want to build. Digital twin program or any kind of initiative around that, it's very similar to like an ERP planning or implementation. And you need to know how the business is going to, or how it's supposed to operate after the implementation. And we see this all the time with organizations that get started with an ERP, trying to design it around the way that things are working now. If you're going to bring a digital twin in on top of that, your business fundamentally is going to operate very differently than it does today. And without careful planning and knowing that those things need to change and evolve, you're going to be redoing a lot of this work, even all the way down to your ERP. And that just causes a lot of internal fatigue with those teams. And if at all possible, we like to avoid that by getting started on the right foot in the first place.
Got it. Now, is there something that a company could do prior to investigating this? So like, say they come to approach you or someone else, what data can they have that's going to make it easier for, digital twin technology or companies that are providing that service?
Again, understanding where they are now and today, we would, after some conversations, we would get started with an initial scan, right? So we can really dive in and analyze this facility and start taking a look at what our opportunities are. That's another reason for our inventory process, is it really lets us identify what our low-hanging fruit is, what the opportunities are to maximize ROI, because you want to get started and you want to build consistency around getting these quick wins. And the more of those small, quick wins you can get under your belt, the more traction you can get internally with the teams. And you slowly start to build momentum where each of your internal champions can start taking on larger chunks of the project and pushing it the rest of the way through. As much as technology is here to help us, we need the people behind it. Otherwise, it can't do a whole lot. So having the people in place and being prepared to upskill and train your employees to operate in the new digital era is of utmost importance.
No, absolutely. And that definitely stuck out with try to get those quick wins, because then you build momentum and then you build, those teams are going to say, hey, we trust this process. We want to go in further, and
yeah,
I think that's really important to have.
Yeah. And we like to offer our clients, our customers, a really dynamic way of viewing ROI. So we tend to guarantee ROI on any of our projects, all the way down to scanning. We can help our customers achieve 100% ROI pretty much from day one, just from our reality capture technologies. That could be identifying slip, trip, and fall hazards. Safety is huge. We're leveraging these technologies for human machine or removing human machine interactions. It's really gaining a lot of traction. We're definitely seeing it in our conversations and pretty much everywhere across the board now.
Well, that's awesome, Anthony. It sounds like you have some exciting stuff going on. That concludes the episode for today. Stay tuned for more insights from people like Anthony. And again, keep pushing forward in the world of manufacturing and be great.
All right. Thanks a lot, David. Appreciate you having me on.